It has been quite a while since I've played a Bethesda game. The last Bethesda RPG that I've played was probably Fallout 4 back when it was released when I was in high school. Over 7 years later, has Bethesda released something that can live up to the giant gaming franchises that they've already left behind? The only thing that was left behind with this game is my enjoyment of playing Bethesda games. Like many that have come before this game, I will likely have to come back after it has been polished for many years before I can truly enjoy this game in all of its glory, like I've done for many games before. At the time of this video, I would say that I'm like a quarter away through the story of the game and only have like around 12 hours of the game. So take everything I'm going to say with a grain of salt because I have not finished this game. Unlike many other games released this year, this is one of the ones I couldn't help but want to put down and move on to other games. Now, is this because I just played some phenomenal games? Is this just because there was some other multiplayer games I was playing that just came out? Who knows? But here's the reasons why I'm stepping away and coming back to this game at a later time instead of finishing it right now. First off, graphics. This game does not look good enough to run as poorly as it does. I understand it's a next generation title. It has to look better, but it doesn't run that well. You're running top of the line hardware and this thing runs horridly. And then they bump it all like, oh, like you need the best stuff. Well, I have some of the best stuff and it's still like it runs terribly. The graphics just don't look that good, especially in certain lightings. Now, when you're in like you're out in space or you're in like some nice lighting, then the graphics look decent, it's fine. But once you get into the weird lighting, like when you get to the like neon and stuff like that, it just looks horrid. There's no textures, there's no anything. The lighting's horrible, the graphics look terrible, the models of the characters look horrendous. And then I understand this is how it is for most games when it comes to character models. The character model looks great when you're making it and terrible in game. But man, sometimes I thought Fallout New Vegas's models looked better. The ambiance of this game is just good though. You're going around and the certain moons and planets and stuff, they all look really nice and the ambiance is there, but it's just like it's not everywhere though. You get to the cities and the ambiance is horrendous. How can you go from playing a game like Cyberpunk with this huge massive city and then you go to the biggest city in Starfield and it's just, this is it? And I have to take like a train to get out. It is, oh my goodness, don't even talk about that. And then just overall performance. Now, I only had my game crash maybe twice in that 12 hours of gameplay. And there were a few points where I launched the game and all of a sudden it's running at 10 FPS and I don't know what the hell the issue was. I had to restart my computer and then it ran fine. But then, when you're troubleshooting it for 30 minutes, then finally you restart your whole system to finally get it to work, then that's just really annoying. That should not be a thing. So graphics, one point I would say that this was one big part that drove me away from this game. Moving on to the story though, I was only a bit in. As far as Bethesda stories go, from what I've seen, it was actually pretty good. I was finally getting into like the media part of the story and everything like that. And for a space game, I thought the story was actually pretty decent for where I was. And, it can only go see what you can get when you get further into the game, but what can you do, right? But the one thing I really did enjoy about the story was there was no hand-holding, even to the detriment of the game. Sometimes I felt like there was just, it didn't help you at all with almost anything. It was like, hey, do this, good luck. And, I coming from like Zelda, I really appreciated it when it did that in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild and everything. Basically, no hand-holding, it wouldn't tell you anything to do. But when you're introduced to so many new systems, and moving on to our next part, so many new systems in the game, where like I haven't played many games like this before, where I just have so many new systems that I need to learn, and it doesn't help you learn any of them essentially. And then it makes you drive outside of the game to go find other content creators that have played the game 5 times already and to figure out what to do. And then At that point, it's like maybe that's too many systems to incorporate in a game. When you get into Fallout 4, boom, it's familiar systems. I like to say, having played the other Fallout games, it's very familiar systems. Playing other RPG games, it's very familiar systems. In Starfield, it felt like they wanted to change every single system in the RPG genre, but I feel like they changed most of them towards the detriment of the game. Now, one thing I did not like was the weight system. I mean, even Todd Howard coming out and saying like, stop picking everything up, and you don't want to sell everything, but like the weight system is just so bad, like the mass system and all that, and then like having to go stuff and sell stuff was horrible, and like there's people coming out and trying to figure out what the best ways to sell everything, and and then your partners can't even carry that much. You can't carry that much. And there's so many things you have to pick up so you can craft things, so you can fight things, so you can heal yourself and all this stuff. And for like a civilization that's living thousands of years in the future or whatever, it just feels like it's super weird that all this stuff is like so hard to get any of the good stuff. And then like, but you can't carry anything once you get out of it. I'm one of those people, when you get into an RPG, I like to pick up everything that'll be useful to me, especially if there's a crafting system. I like to pick up all the crafting stuff and then put it away, and then I'll start crafting in like huge chunks. I don't like to go pick up a few things, go find the things I need, craft a few things, and then go about my way. I like to craft a lot at a time, and it's really hard to do that, especially like your ship. It can't even hold that much, your starting ship. And I understand you can get better ships later, ships that you can hold more, can do more, but it's like your first ship is just like, it kind of felt like it was just the worst ship in the game, and they give it to you, and it's like, I understand they want you to get up and get better ships and stuff, but it's like it could hold like 2 times as much as you could hold, and then you have your partner that can hold something and other stuff, and then everything just weighs so much. It's crazy. You can get some things that weigh like a third of your total weight. It's ridiculous, and I was finding myself just putting everything into the carrying one so I can carry more and more, and then then I was having to go through stuff, and then I like to explore every little nook and cranny, but you can't when you get through the first room and you're already full on everything, and I can't do anything anymore. But that's more of a me issue. The partner system, I found my partners glitching the heck out sometimes, and I've seen other people do that as well. Their stuff was glitching out and not fighting things, and they would just like, the catchphrases were nice. It reminded me a lot of New Vegas and everything like that, where they were like talking to you and doing stuff like that. That was really nice. But other than that, I found the partners really useless, but I never got into like, like the better parts of the ship systems where you can make them do stuff, and outposts and stuff where you can make them do other stuff too. So I never really got into those, so maybe that would have been better. But I always found myself not wanting to like go anywhere because of the cutscenes. Oh my goodness. I think out of the 12 hours I was playing the game, 2 hours of it, 3 hours of it was cutscenes. And not even like good cutscenes where people were talking or stuff. No, it's just like me fast traveling to places, and then I got a loading screen. I guess cutscene's not a good idea and a good word, but loading screens. Oh my God, there's so many loading screens. To get somewhere, it would take longer to load, and when you have the fastest memory on the market, and it's still taking this long to load, and then you got like 5 loading screens and cutscenes as you get to somewhere. It's just ridiculous how long it takes to get somewhere sometimes. Where in other games, it was like, okay, fast travel there, boom, wait 5 seconds, boom, you're there, nice. But then you have to load all these new things, and I understand when it's your first one where you have this kind of loading system and like cutscene system and fast travel system, and it's gonna have these few hiccups, but it's just terrible. And then like you can't really like fly your ship anywhere unless you're in space. And I really enjoy that you can just fly anywhere, whatever, it's just like go wherever you want, but then it takes forever because I understand it's space, so that's nice, but like you can't do anything on the planets. You land and then you have to go do something. There's no vehicles or anything. It's just the ship. And I don't know. Now, once we get into the combat, the gun combat, it felt really like Fallout 4's gun combat. It felt like more of a shooter, which was nice because, if you want good gun combat, then we want it to feel kind of like a shooter, right? But other than that, it felt like when you were getting shot at, it didn't feel very good. Like you'd get hit and it was like, whatever, you're shooting somebody. You didn't really feel anything. Not the best gun combat in the world, but was whatever. The ship combat, I was not a big fan of personally, and it's maybe just because I was still on the default ship and everything. And they don't really tell you how to do anything either, so I found myself like dying. Oh, I figured something out. But then I thought I figured it out, and it still wouldn't work. So I was not a big fan of the ship combat compared to the gun combat. But the character movement was really neat, moving from planet to planet, and you have all these different gravities and stuff like that. I really enjoyed the movement in this game, uh, especially like some of the certain physics aspects of all the movement in the game. It was really nice compared to the ship combat versus character combat. The character combat was so much better, and I enjoyed it way more than the ship combat. Now, I will come back to play this game another time, but it's just not it for me right now. Starfield, I think, could have used at least another year in development. Now, will this be one of those ones where, people came out and they were giving it 6s and 7s, and honestly, right now, I mean, I'd probably give it a 6 or a 5 maybe. If I was to finish this game and if it was the same way throughout the whole thing, I would say maybe a 5 or a 6. It's just there's some really good parts, but there's so many things holding this game back from what I know Bethesda wants it to be and what all the fans want it to be. With so many games I've reviewed like on the channel recently, I always found myself wanting to play more. But for this game, it was like, oh God, I gotta stream Starfield tonight. Oh, I gotta go do this tonight. All that stuff. And I just found myself not wanting to play the game and forcing myself to play instead. And I don't want to ever do that. So I will come back and play the game when it's better. And I mean, like, if once you get to the strip club, man, that thing looks horrid. Okay. I just look up Neon Strip Club and you'll understand why I don't want to play this game anymore. All right. So thanks for watching, guys. I will be coming back. This is an incomplete review of Starfield, but I wanted to get this out there just for anybody that are on the fence about spending another $70 for a AAA title that feels like it could have used another year in development, especially when you're such a huge company owned by an even bigger company. But for me, that's it for now. We'll be playing more games, more reviews coming out soon, and I will catch you guys all on the next one. Peace.